level, more than 60,000 healthcare workers in the US have contracted COVID-19. 300 have died. And if we compare relatively, an estimated 300 to 400 physicians die by suicide every year. Similarly, of the health workers who treated patients during the COVID-19 outbreak, 50% showed signs of depression, 45% showed signs of anxiety, and this is just according to the preliminary research. So we have a situation where to treat the pandemic and to give both support, mental strength, and tools and techniques to overcome the corona pandemic, we have the frontline defense being doctors, physicians, healthcare workers. But now, 50% of them almost themselves are down with depression or anxiety. So it is indeed a situation where the whole mental health crisis is exploding on the face, and it has its ramifications in terms of the healthcare that the physicians are able to provide to the patients. The self-reported mental health among pregnant women and new mothers, the other segment which was studied, is before COVID-19 pandemic, 15% of the pregnant women and new mothers felt depressed, and 29% experienced anxiety. But during this COVID-19 pandemic, 40% of pregnant women and new mothers are suffering from depression, and a whopping 72% of pregnant women and new mothers are suffering from anxiety, which, needless to say, will have its effects not only on the mothers, but also on the children either yet to be born or just born. The US cases of depression have tripled during the COVID-19 pandemic. A large study finds a dramatic increase in the number of adults in the United States reporting symptoms of depression during the COVID-19 pandemic. The number of adults experiencing depression in the US has tripled, according to a major study. Researchers estimate that more than 1 in 4 US adults now report experiencing symptoms of depression. Before the pandemic, 8.5% of US adults reported being depressed. That number has risen to 27.8% as the country struggles with COVID-19. So one can see here the numbers are not just linearly increasing, but it's almost an exponential rise, as 3 times, 4 times is what we are seeing the numbers of people affected in those relevant segments, be it healthcare workers, be it pregnant women, be it the workforce. In every segment, the number of people affected has increased almost a few times compared to just a couple of years back. Further research is showing 76% of the US employees are currently experiencing worker burnout. 57% say worries about COVID-19 have been a contributing factor. And one would imagine that political issues which are usually on the forefront of people's worry list, that actually is looking faded at a 33% saying worries about political issues have contributed to the burnout, whereas almost double at 57% are saying they are worried about the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic's impact on mental health. 78% of the global workforce says the pandemic has negatively affected their mental health. 85% say their mental health issues are causing sleep deprivation, poor physical health, reduced happiness at home, strained family relationships, or isolation from friends. 68% of people would prefer to talk to a robot over their manager about stress and anxiety at work. 76% of workers believe their company should be doing more to protect the mental health of the workforce. This is as per the studies of Oracle and Workplace Intelligence. So one can see here the red flag in the form of the numbers, everything above 70% at least, in terms of the people being affected mentally, their mental health being affected by the pandemic. And one more concerning aspect is the young workers, the youth are the hardest hit. The age group 22 to 25, 89% of the youth affected, 26 to 37, 83% of the youth workforce affected, 38 to 54, 73%, and 55 to 74, the so-called mature, the elderly population, that itself 62% of the people in the workforce stressed or worried or depressed. The younger respondents were more likely to say that the pandemic has had a negative effect on their mental health. Now that's where we are in terms of what the situation in the world is in terms of mental health and the impact that the pandemic has had, the secondary so-called ripple effects that the pandemic has had, besides the death toll that it has taken worldwide by people just succumbing to the disease, the pandemic leaving a trail of extreme anxiety and depression, be it in the workforce, in the IT sector, or in the healthcare segment, or in pregnant women and nursing mothers, or generally the population at large, especially in terms of the youth getting very badly impacted, almost more than 70%, and the elderly segment of the population not far behind at almost close to 50%. And in the light of this, what are the contributions that Kailasa, under the guidance and aegis of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nityananda Paramashivam, has to give to the world in the time of this extreme crisis? Let us see in the next few minutes after a short break.
If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you, and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home, without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost. What I mean by the word E-Kailasa. Listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is E-Kailasa. I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model community. Kailasas, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world. All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem. I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together. We get you help. We get you. Shivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda 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 Paramashivoham. Om Relationships in your life. We get you there and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Akalashians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
E-Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. E-Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost.
Welcome back. And now we will see the contributions from Kailasa's Department of Human Services. Kailasa's Department of Religion and Worship, Department of Human Services, and each of Kailasa's temple ecosystems consider the right of happiness to be the highest fundamental right of all humans, the right to bliss. The ultimate for Hinduism and Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nityananda Paramashivam, is the material and spiritual well-being and prosperity of humanity.
Kailasa is a place where everything related to superconsciousness is revived. All the sampradayas, all the spiritual ecosystems created for the enlightenment will be revived and established in such a way that it never gets lost again. They're forever serving the humanity. What you're seeing is on 21st of October 2006, following a meditation under the sacred banyan tree, the Kalpa Vriksha in Adi Kailasa, the peacekeepers of Kailasa, along with the children of Nityananda Gurukul, celebrate the auspicious occasion of Deepavali. (22nd of December 2018), where the peacekeepers of Kailasa and participants of Paramashivoham meditation program take part in the celebrations of traditional flag hoisting ceremony in Adi Kailasa, Vididi. Next is on 14th of December 2006, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism conducting the Nityananda Spurana Convention, which is Life Bliss Program Level 2, a meditation workshop in Chennai, India. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism conducting the Nityananda Spurana Convention program at St. Peter's Engineering College in 17th of December 2006. This is from 26th of May 2006, where the peacekeepers of Kailasa and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism embark on the Himalayan Yatra, the traditional sacred pilgrimage to the Himalayan mountains and up the river Ganga. The temple ecosystem of Tiruvannamalai serves as the driving factor in maintaining the lifestyle of health, wealth, and well-being of the Renaissance of Tiruvannamalai, one of the remaining living temple ecosystems. On 31st of December 2018, where the peacekeepers of Kailasa and the participants of Paramashivoham meditation workshop who take part in morning meditation and traditional puja or the ritualistic worship. On 11th of September 2016, where the peacekeepers of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who take part in the Karaseva, the voluntary contribution of the physical service towards the cleaning or construction of the sacred Hindu temple. Next, what we are seeing is the Kailasa's establishments, Kailasa's ecosystems around the world. In 1994, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is receiving the traditionally passed Kailasa in Tiruvannamalai onto the hands from his Guru, Mata Vivekananda Puri. And what you're seeing on right is the Kailasa in Tiruvannamalai receiving the visitors and delegates for the Kalpataru meditation workshop and Sivadiksha. 11th of March 2017, where thousands of people arrived to celebrate the living enlightenment ecosystem and to traditionally meet the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Swamiji. Now, next we are seeing the Kailasa in Los Angeles, California, USA, as a 25,000 square feet temple complex housing 80 plus deities. It is one of the largest Hindu temples ecosystems in the West. Next is the Kailasa in Columbus, Ohio, the first temple established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism outside India. The temple physically came into life in just 9 months. The chief presiding deities of the temple are Sri Nityanandeshwara Paramashiva and Devi Nityanandeshwari Parashakti. The deities are 7 feet tall granite weighing about 6 tons, and their divine faces have been directly hand-carved by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Next is Kailasa in Seattle, where the housing the blissful dancing form of Ganesha and the largest living Natarajar outside of India. The Kailasa in Seattle is also known as the Chidambaram of the West. Next is Kailasa in San Jose, which is inaugurated in 2009. Kailasa in San Jose radiates the energy of the Madurai Meenakshi temple. The chief presiding deities of temple are Devi Meenakshi, the Shivalinga, Lord Sri Nityanandeshwara and Devi Nityanandeshwari, which have been created, installed and energized by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. Kailasa in St. Louis, Missouri, along with the Sivalinga and Nityanandeshwara Ganesha. Kailasa in St. Louis carries the energy of Tirumala Tirupati of South India and houses one of the tallest Venkateshwara deities in North America, along with his consorts Sri Devi and Bhudevi. The beautiful landscape nestled among the woods and the rolling hills of Missouri stretches for about 20 acres. Next is Kailasa in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a home to over 21 deities and with a temple structure of 2,500 square feet. Kailasa in Phoenix have been directly established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, serving as an energy center, energy field of meditation, worship, and celebration over 7 years. Kailasa in Houston, formally inaugurated in 2017, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has declared the Kailasa in Houston as the Parihara Sthala for all the Navagraha doshas. Kailasa in Toronto, Canada, inaugurated on July 2011. Kailasa in Toronto is the only Hindu temple in the West with all the 63 Nayanmars and 18 Siddhas residing as vivid deities. The temple deities here are seated exactly as the existential preside in Kailasa around Paramashiva, the primordial deity of Hinduism. Next, what you are watching is the active and alive Sangha of the Kailasa in Toronto from 2011 onwards, which has been blessed to radiate the super conscious energy of Kailasa. The temple ecosystem goes on providing various services to the community, including Annadan and other traditional Hindu ceremonies. So far what we have seen is the different contributions from Kailasa since its inception. And now what we're going to see is a special segment on the spiritual routine during Brahma Muhurta and its effectiveness in overcoming the pandemic fatigue. Let us look into the revelations to the world by Devi Parashakti, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Swamiji is manifesting as the Devi Parashakti when she revealed on 12th of May 2021, when she told that, I came as Nijavatara. I am blessing you, listen. People, listen. To do good to all of you, I have taken the form of Nityananda and came down as the Nijavatara. People of India, listen, carefully listen. Time after time, Bharadam is a Jnana Bhumi, where the enlightened beings comes. We cannot make the Jnana Bhumi as infertile. Enlightenment beings have to come. They have to live, it has to flower. Few hypocrites, because they are stuck in delusion, we cannot sacrifice the world. Cosmos cannot be destroyed. The ship I did to save the cosmos from being destroyed, that is called Adi Kailasa. The ship I did to protect the beings from Pralaya is Adi Kailasa. Because of the conspiracy of Drohis and enemy rules, captain has to leave the ship. Before 12 years, knowing the great deluge that is going to happen, all the Aushadas, by this Guru Purnima, that Jnana Dasavadam, Navabhashana is going to flower. I love people to come and take a dip in Navabhashana flower. People, whoever comes and dips in Vaidya Sarovar, they will not have death. They will not have corona. Crores and crores of people will come and dine. Every day they will come and dip in the Ananda Lingam. Listen well to my words. For India, I made the ship as protection. The Nityananda Navapashana Lingam in Vaidya Sarovar. Go to Adi Kailasa. O Indians, listen. All those regretting losing the Nityananda Nijavatara without confusion and without talking, just as a lip service, go to Adi Kailasa. Crores of people will come there looking for health, Navapashana, water feast and medicine to get health and protection and enlightenment. To protect India from the great destruction, I, Parashakti, made this huge ship. Even if the captain is not there, the ship is there. When the first world countries closed their borders during this massive global emergency, Kailasa has opened its door to one and all without exception. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has opened his homes for people to get protected from COVID-19. So if you are somebody who wants to feel protected, especially on the ongoing pandemic, you are welcome to reside in the COVID care protection centers. that are nothing but the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa for one and all, that is being provided and offered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism unconditionally. So you will be provided with free food, free accommodation, free internet service. You can work from home. You can evolve and manifest the space of Paramashiva by being in this energy field. So the free COVID care centers that are opened across India includes Adi Kailasa Nityananda Sarvanya Peetham in Viridi, Salem Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Thiruvannamalai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Rajapalayam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Puduvai Adinam in Puducherry, Pattanam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Siragapadi Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Sri Puram Adinam in Tamil Nadu, in Hyderabad, Madurai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Avattipalayam, Erode, Tamil Nadu, Hosur Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Baroda Adinam in Gujarat. Free multiple COVID care centers are opened across India that offers various spiritual services and social services in Kailasa's de facto spiritual embassies across India. And we have this cosmic revelations on global pandemic. The free social services include medical care, allopathy, and Siddha medicine. So anybody who comes here to the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa, you will be provided with free medical care, whether it is allopathy, Ayurveda, or Siddha medicine, and the infrastructure to accommodate thousands of people, and the accommodation that guarantees you the multi-layered quarantine facility. You will be completely protected from the environment to interact with anybody who's not in quarantine, and you have enough amount of personal protective medical equipment, and then you have emergency ambulances, food security management through food banks, and you have organic farming that you can do. So here is an opportunity to one and all to join this COVID care protection centers. You can register through the link kailasa.org/Kailasa Care, KAILASA.org/KAILASACARE. So what can you expect in these COVID care protection centers? These COVID care protection centers are the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa. Here in these centers, all the basic needs for anybody, say food, accommodation, internet services, you can work from home, all of these basic services are provided. But why do you need to join here in the COVID Care Protection Center? You have this Nityananda Navapashana Lingam that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has prepared this sacred concoction that is going to protect people from pandemic. If you take a dip in this Vaidya Sarovar that is there in the Adi Kailasa Nityananda Sarvanya Peetham, you will be granted the protection from COVID infections. So thousands and thousands of people are going to head to this Nityananda Navapashana Lingam to get healed from COVID. And here is the grace and the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that he has opened his Kailasas for one and all. He has opened his homes to one and all, especially when the first world countries close their borders. Every single person close their borders. And here what we need to really note is, even if the captain of the ship is not there, the ship is there. That is the grace of Parashakti. The captain of the ship is none other than the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Swamiji. He had to leave the ship because of the ongoing persecution from the anti-Hindu elements and anti-Hindu Guru Media Mafia. And this, despite all of these attacks, it is the grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that he has opened the homes of this Kailasa for people to come, reside, evolve themselves spiritually, and feel protected during this ongoing COVID. So we provide this opportunity to one and all for you to be part of this COVID care protection centers. The place where you can register is kailasa.org/Kailasa Care. So let's take a few minutes for us to get registered in this link, kailasa.org/Kailasa Care, before we go to the next segment.
What I mean by the word e-Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is e-Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model community. Kailasa, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Pitas all over the world.
All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem.
I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you.
We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become e-Kailashians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
E-Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. E-Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything.
Nityanandam. Welcome back to all of the viewers who are joining us for today's program as we are moving more and more towards the live Parashakti Akashic reading at 10 p.m. IST today. And I hope every single one of you is sharing this with all of your friends, your family, and ensuring that everyone who is interested in the very least and wants to have the divine blessings of Devi Parashakti in your life, and you can make sure that you share this link with everyone and anyone that you know. The Devi Parashakti Akashic reading is at 10 p.m. IST and 9:30 a.m. EST. Make sure that you are tuning in and you're staying tuned for the live Parashakti Akashic reading. Now we're moving into the next segment in today's program, the continuation in the series of presentations on the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And in so many different ways, we've heard the stories of survivors of child sexual abuse, the stories of survivors of brutal assault and rape, the stories of survivors who have literally seen their homes just light up in flames and need to be kicked out onto the streets. And in each of these instances, it is not just an attack against one adinam, one monastery, one person, or even if you say it's an attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, still it is an attack against Hinduism in its entirety. Hinduism for the last 1,000 years has been under continuous series of attacks and is literally going through genocide after genocide. And today, the dying population of Hindus is extremely alarming. But we have to ask ourselves, why are the bells not ringing? The number of Hindus in Pakistan is slowly dwindling to less than 1%. And even officials do not know how many Hindus are actually living there and continuously who are being attacked and needing to flee. and the Hindus in Afghanistan, Hindus in Bangladesh, Hindus in Malaysia, in every single country that was once a Hindu desha, Hindu country, the Hindus are under attack. They're continuously facing violence by different anti-Hindu forces and supremacist forces. And the population of Hindus is dwindling, is dying, and is becoming more and more vulnerable. We have to ask ourselves, why isn't an alarm going off inside of each and every one of us? Why aren't the bells ringing that Hinduism is dying, that Hinduism is actually losing its numbers, losing its existence slowly in the world? We have to be disillusioned by the reality that we are living in. We have to be disillusioned by whatever idea that we have that Hinduism is still alive and that it is still in its most authentic form. We have to understand that it has gone far from what it once was, and it's losing its origins, losing its roots. Today, we are going to be presenting to each and every one of you what's happening in the heart of the Hindu civilization in India itself, in Madurai, one of the most prolific and most powerful centers for Hinduism, an epicenter for the ancient Hinduism that is still alive today, and at least in the infrastructure. And one of the longest surviving, the first and the longest surviving Hindu ecosystems that exist today. The Kailashonnata Dwadashanta Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam was established in the midst of time by Lord Paramashiva and later revived by Devi Meenakshi and Lord Sundareshwara, who as deities and the incarnates of Sri Paramashiva ruled over the kingdom of Madurai. And we're going to be analyzing and understanding the persecution that happened against this ancient indigenous Hindu kingdom. Devi Meenakshi, Lord Sundareshwara, and the Tirugnana Sambandar, or the Guru Parampara of this ancient lineage of the Madurai Adinam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pita, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam on the 29th of April in 2012. This grand and ancient lineage, starting from Meenakshi herself and Paramashiva in the form of Sundareshwara, and then revived by Sri Tirujnana Sambandar in later years, and then after that, an unbroken lineage of Guru Mahasannidhanams who had ruled literally as the leaders of the sovereign kingdoms in India, in Bharata, in the Hindu desha. As you can see here, we have all of the preceding Guru Mahasannidhanams as a lineage who are predecessors of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And each of them worshipped and revered as sovereign leaders of the kingdom of Madurai, the kingdom of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam. Yes, and here is the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam, the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, and finally the lineage being passed down to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself on the 29th of April 2012. Now, I also have joining with me Ma Nitya Aryu about how the entire narrative of Madurai had happened. And I'd just like to welcome Ma Atmapriya Swami to the panel.
Nityananda. Yes, so as we were narrating the glory and history of the ecosystem, the kingdom of Madurai, you could see these pictures which are actually displayed, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness, was declared as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shyamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, the Madurai the oldest papal state and the monastic kingdom, at the age of 34 on 27th of April 2021. You can see the 292nd pontiff who is coronating His Divine Holiness and giving him the staff, the traditional staff of Meenakshi to His Divine Holiness on the 27th of April 2012.
And actually, Ma, I'd like if you can just describe it. Actually, I remember from our previous conversations about the glory of the Madurai Adinam and the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that you actually had mentioned how the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam actually saw and declared the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as an incarnation of Sri Trignana Sambandar himself. Could you share a little bit more about that and about how what that means really to the whole world, what that means in the history of Hinduism, that Guru Mahasannidhanam is declaring this for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism?
Yeah, yes. So it was way back in 2012 when some of the disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had met the 292nd Pontiff. And after a while, he had actually told that he got a dream, and Paramashiva had literally told that Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is going to be his successor of the Madurai Adinam. And literally, it is blessings of Paramashiva and Meenakshi herself to have Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Pontiff of Guru Mahasannidhanam. So this was what exactly he had actually told in all the media, in the press, and that is after which he came to Adi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham. He met the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and he coronated him in both places, in Adi Kailasa and in Madurai. These are the pictures, as you had said. I remember very clearly. So he came to our Adi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham, where this is the picture which is projected over here, and also in Madurai when he coronated him, saying that he had a dream and revelation to him that the Supreme Pontiff is an incarnation of Trignana Sambandar, and this has happened only by the blessings of Paramashiva and Meenakshi.
And here we have a photograph of the immediate lineage of all of the four predecessors of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it is going from the five pontiffs back until the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So we have each and every one of Guru Mahasannidhanam.
Yes, so these are the pictures you could see. The aftermath of the coronation of His Divine Holiness as the 293rd Pontiff of the Madurai Kingdom. So he literally walked the streets with the 292nd Pontiff, and he met each and every person in the street, and every day he used to go to the Meenakshi temple and heal people who ever come to the Adinam and offer annadan to more than 5,000 people per day. So that was the beautiful contribution after the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Yes, and as we can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, after having been coronated, is visiting the Madurai temple with the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam. And after this, he had done so much to revive and to bring back life into the Madurai Adinam, whether it is the reconstruction of the reconstruction and repair work around the Madurai Adinam, around this ancient heritage, or giving free food every single day, or reviving the ancients, such as the Jnanapal. With Atmapriya Swami, would you be able to even tell, I think even yourself, you had served as one of the doctors in the medical camps that were going on. Could you tell a little bit more about what kinds of services that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was spearheading there, and how was the reaction? How many people came to Madurai Adinam, came to the SSJP or the Shamala Peeta Sarvagnya Peetham every day? And what was, like, if you can give us a picture, like what was a day in the life of Madurai when Swamiji was there?
Yes, so when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was there in Madurai, So literally in terms of Annadan, I could see around more than 200 volunteers were staying in campus in the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham, and we were cooking and serving pure Sattvic organic food in the Madurai Adinam, and per day, like for one meal. So we used to give 3 meals 24/7. So it is not only limited to 3 meals. Anytime anyone walks in, they can actually have a full meal, a fulfilled meal. So minimum 1,000 to 2,000 people, they enter the campus, and they have a fulfilled meal. And the beauty was the crime rate. So the local police officer, he came one day to have the darshan of Supreme Court of Hinduism, and he said that literally the crime rate of the whole area had reduced because the theft, the robbery was the high level in that area just because they didn't have food. So the Supreme Court of Hinduism was coronated right after 2 months. The whole crime rate has decreased, and even I was a witness to that when the police officer was actually sharing it with the devotees and the Supreme Court of Hinduism itself. So that was the level of enriching just in terms of Annadan, which was done in the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham when the Supreme Court was coronated. So later, when in the medical camp. So I was also part of the medical camp, and almost 3 medical camps were conducted with a team of more than 50 doctors in more than 10 to 12 specialties, in various specialties, and around more than 10,000 people around the whole area near the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham were actually benefited by the medical camp. So, and the Supreme Pontiff also had a huge vision of building a big hospital, a multi-speciality hospital in the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham. So that was in regards to the contribution in terms of medical facilities and medical camp. Yes, ma'am.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like as yourself serving in these medical camps? How were the patients? How did they really feel about Swamiji holding these medical camps, and how many people in the medical camps also were benefited in the surrounding area?
Yes. So as I actually mentioned, more than 10,000 to 15,000 people were benefited in each medical camp. So we had conducted more than 3 to 5 medical camps. So the people, like the basic food and medicine is what people are yearning for. So that was fulfilled, and the early diagnosis. Not only that, so even if they had any diagnosis of any disease or any problem, the next day they used to come to the Supreme Court of Hinduism, take his darshan during the Sarva darshan, and get it healed. So this was a huge service was actually offered in the Shamlapita Sarvajnapeetham when the medical camp was actually conducted, and we had a team of more than 50 doctors, all of them who were initiated disciples of the Supreme Pontiff, and everyone, like literally, not only the doctors, we had more than 100 volunteers in the medical camp who had come over there and distributed free medicines. So whoever came to the medical camp received free medicines for whatever problem and medical illnesses they were actually facing.
Wonderful. So actually, in addition, as you can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had gone and visited so many of the surrounding temples, and the Madurai Adinam actually being one of the oldest heritage adhinams and monastery complexes of this entire area, was in charge, if I'm right, of different and the Adhinam. So as a part of this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had visited these temples, had initiated so many repair projects, not just repair, but recovery, reconstruction, and had initiated even volunteers coming from all over the world in order to begin the restoration of these ancient heritage. And these are some of the oldest temples in the area, if I'm right. So can you tell us a little bit about the restoration projects that Swamiji had spearheaded at this time, led, and he even led and started to do the same, like lead all the volunteers in restoring. We have footage of that, which is an amazing thing. If you can describe that, Ma, we'd really like to know about these restoration projects that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism spearheaded at this time.
Yeah, so actually there are 4 temples which are a part of the Madurai Adinam. We can see the Kanchanam, the Kachanur temple, and 2 more temples which are a part of the Madurai Adinam. So the Supreme Pontiff, actually, he physically visited all these 4 temples. These are the ancient temples which are a part of the Madurai Adinam, the Shamlapita Sarvajñapita. So he literally, we could actually, we can also see few visuals and pictures of how he, Supreme Pontiff, he physically was there. He was physically cleaning each and every pillar and each and every statue, each and every deity inside the temple, and he was literally supervising the whole temple area. So literally sitting there and monitoring and cleaning the whole temple, and he was actually an intense part of the cleaning process and the revival process of the all 4 temples. So that is what is the video which we are watching here. So he went, not only visited the temples, he was actually on ground. He just did the work. I don't know, I don't have words to say, but literally I was also a part of the project.
Right. So we do have footage of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, cleaning the temples. I think we just have to. That would be amazing to show that footage in particular. Yes. I think now we have to stop the screen share and then we can start. Yes, we can just show that video of the Supreme Pontiff of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, spearheading the project of restoration in Madurai. And we're doing this. We're understanding about this is because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had literally visited temple by temple, had literally shown so many different heritage sites to the whole world, brought the Shamanapita Sarvajñapitam to the international audience. And from all over the world, volunteers had literally signed up to come to start and join in on these projects. And there was, as you can see here, these are some of the temples where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself led the restoration projects. And these temples, if you have an estimate of how old these temples are, I'm quite sure that they're some of the oldest temples in the area, even. These temples, such as the Kanjanur temple and in Kanchanam, the temples there are some of the oldest temples that are in the area, as well, of course, and are all under the purview, under the responsibility of the Madurai Adinam itself. So that's why, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, he himself went and not even visited, he himself went to these temples, led the projects, led these massive restoration projects. As you can see here, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself directing the whole team for the restoration of this temple, and he himself cleaning, going and cleaning the deities, going and cleaning the cobwebs off of the temple pillars. All of this really shows the amount of contribution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was determined to do, and not only that, what he was successfully doing. These temples for hundreds of years did not even see how the basic running, and were not even able to meet in many ways the basic levels of running and sanitation, cleanliness, and many of the temples were degraded. Many of the temple constructions were slowly falling apart due to so much of air pollution, due to so much of different effects of time happening on the temple construction. And due to this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism saw it necessary, absolutely necessary, to ensure that these projects are underway and happening, and therefore he himself went and cleaned these temples, as you can see here. Now, the very why we are showing this, and the very astonishing fact is then, despite having contributed so much, shown in so many different ways, the amount of restoration he was doing, the amount of contribution he was doing, how, as Mahatma Priya Swami mentioned before, literally the crime rates in the surrounding area of the Kailashonatha Shamalapita Sarvagna Peetham had decreased, and 10,000 people in the surrounding areas were continuously being benefited. It's not a joke to be able to do this kind of good to the people. And people around Madurai were celebrating the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continuously, always visiting the temple, visiting Madurai temple when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had graced and received the blessings of Devi Meenakshi. Every single morning there would be a procession to the Devi Meenakshi Madurai, the main temple of Madurai, and both the 292nd Guru Mahasanidhanam and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Guru Mahasanidhanam would go to the temple to receive the darshan of Devi Meenakshi. And at that time, literally crowds of people would be gathering around just to have a glimpse, the blessings, and seek the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So in this way, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given so much has contributed so much to the Madurai Adinam, to Madurai itself. It's not a joke to be able to say that 10,000 people in the surrounding areas were continuously being benefited. As you can see here, as I mentioned, the Pontiff of Hinduism going to the temple to receive the darshan. And like this, going to every single temple. And not only that, the programs that were being offered when Mahatma Priya Swami joins us back, we'll see how the programs that were ongoing continuously in the Madurai and in the surrounding areas were also benefit people. Programs about how to live a conflict-free life, how to overcome anxiety and fear, and how to really be able to live life powerfully. So as you can see, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with the temple administrators, the leaders of the community, who are also discussing and speaking about the activities, the socio-spiritual activities that are going on in the temple, the benefits that is reaching the people, and so many other issues that are concerning the temple, including the regular attendance and the regular treatment and of the pujacharyas, the worship, the rituals, everything. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism would be consulted for his guidance by the temple administrators and the leaders of the surrounding area. Yes. We'll be understanding next. About sorry for that technical glitch. Now in the next few minutes, we'll be understanding about, despite having successfully transformed this indigenous kingdom, revived this indigenous kingdom of the Shamalapita Sarvagna Peetham, even though he had revived this, the Shamalapita Sarvagna Peetham, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had literally been undergone so much of attack over the course of just a few weeks. More than 50 petitions and 50 cases were filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in acts of abhorrent, incessant lawfare, making up absolutely baseless allegations that would go out onto the media and then have massive campaigns of hate speech against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We'll now be understanding how the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism ensued in the following month after a very quick break.
If you are interested in enlightenment, we will immediately bring this to you. If you are not interested, we will explain the whole science, inspire you and make you interested in enlightenment science. We need to cater this enlightenment science to the whole world wherever they are, because enlightenment is the birthright of all human beings. Kailasa is responsible to provide that to all human beings. Kailasa is the totality of the knowledge I received from my gurus and practice manifested in my life, perfected by teaching millions of people from all cultures, time zones, backgrounds, genders, nationality, race, from every creed. So this absolutely perfected knowledge available to you, served to you in your home without even you moving out of your couch, free of cost.
Yes, Nityanandam.
Nityanandam, once again, welcome back to all of the viewers. And just as a recap for what we have been through, what we have discussed so far with Mahatma Priyananda Swami, is the amount of contribution, the amount of successful revival of this ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had done in a very short amount of time. I think just within 1 month, if I'm right, Mahatma Priya Swami, that within 1 month, the entire Adinam had just been transformed. And again, whether it is the Annadan, the medical camps, the restoration projects, not only inside of the Madurai Adinam, but also in temples across this area. So in just a short amount of time, immediately after the Kailashwan, the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam, the coronation that happened on the 29th of April in 2012, immediately after that, in record-breaking amount of time, there was so much activity, so much celebration, so much of good that was happening for the area, for the people, and ultimately for Hinduism. And it was, and even now seeing the pictures, as you can see, there are all of these different projects, all of these different, even the satsangs that Swamiji had literally daily been conducting, and the darshans. I believe that every single day, as you can see, Sarva Darshan was happening. So if Ma'am Atmapriya Swami can just a little briefly describe what is Sarva Darshan and what the people that came even for Sarva Darshan.
Yes, so all the localites of the Madurai kingdom, so who are living in and around the temple, and all the people, the local public, they literally used to visit the Madurai Adinam. So earlier, before the Supreme Court of Hinduism was before coronation, so all of them used to come to the temple, but it was after when Supreme Court of Hinduism was coronated, literally around every day, around 1,000 people used to come take the darshan. The Sarva Darshan is the darshan with the Supreme Pontiff used to actually meet the public. He used to listen to their problems, heal them literally by talking to them and giving them the spiritual healing. So these are the various pictures which we could see. So literally, at least all the people in the local Madurai kingdom, that whole place would have been benefited by this Sarva Darshan, which is literally free. And he used to, there are a lot of miracles had happened. He used to literally heal each and every one who come there by giving them the free healing, talking to them and attending each one of them individually through the Sarva Darshan. So that is what we could see actually in all these pictures in the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam, which happened right in 2012. So people used to flock in crowds just to see his face, even if they didn't even have a touch. At least they wanted to come and see his face to see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. These are the various pictures which we could actually see.
And also here, the tradition of Jnanapal that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had revived. Can you explain a little bit about that, about how, what was the tradition and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived it?
Yes, actually, in the Hindu tradition, in the Vedic heritage, it is a symbolic offering of the wisdom to people. So that is when it started with the great saint Jnana Sambandar, when he had the breast milk of Devi Parashakti, and he literally experienced that oneness, the superconscious breakthrough in him. The same tradition was actually revived by the Supreme Court of Hinduism, and you can see those pictures in Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam offering the enlightening milk, which is called as the Jnanapal, to all the visitors, to all the pilgrims, to all the devotees who visited the ashram here. Both the 292nd and the 293rd pontiffs are actually having the enlightening milk, and they're distributing it to their visitors and the pilgrims. So it is a symbolic offering of wisdom to all the people. So that is the heritage and the tradition of the Shamalapita Sarvagnapitam.
Yes, and amazing. As you can see, so it's not just the amount of things he was conquering, the Annadan, the medical camp, but even the sacred traditions, the revival of these sacred traditions that were lost so many thousands of years ago, that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was reviving and distribute and giving to the public. And that just that sacred sentiment, literally once again, is like Meenakshi was living among them again, living in Madurai once again. And as you can see in the photos and everything, it literally how Queen Meenakshi attended to her people in her kingdom. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was attending every single day and reviving the community, reviving this ancient indigenous Hindu community, Hindu kingdom. And after that, if you see the incessant attacks, the amount of extreme that the anti-Hindu militant forces had gone to, to ensure that what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was doing, the amount of good that he was doing, was stopped or needed to be stopped. And even though today we can say that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has now started again the amount of contributions that he's doing in an absolutely new breakthrough way. No, at that time in 2012, there was an onslaught of attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by anti-Hindu militant forces that had really been invested in ensuring the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism needed to be eliminated. First, many of them had been had started lawfare that which are basically false cases that would try to gain the public opinion on the against the appointment of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam. So in so many different ways, they're literally making up lies, making up just out of thin air, making up lies about what's going on inside of the Adinam, portraying that using the media, which they own, the anti-Hindu forces own the media, using the media in order to portray that to the public and to illegally move their lawfare cases against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So, Atmapriya Swami, if you can just brief us on a little bit about what were the lawfares, the cases that were filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that were absolutely baseless, that allegations were just so atrocious. If you can share your insider point of view on that and share that with the viewers, please.
Yes, so actually, you could see here, after the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, around the Hindu leaders from more than 53 organizations, they had actually pledged their support to the Supreme Pontiff as the 293rd Pontiff. But on the 10th of May 2012, so if you see, a false case, a lawfare was actually filed by an unknown anti-Hindu militant who actually he filed a case that the appointment of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the 293rd Pontiff is illegal. So that was the first illegal attack which started. So it continued on the 12th of May 2012, where you can see a false complaint claimed to have visited the Madurai Adinam on the night of 12th May, that he was served holy water spiked with intoxicants, and that he has reached an inebriated state, and in front of him his divine holiness and several women were in compromising position on beds made of white tiger skins and elephant tusks. So this is what is the most stupidest of the case which was filed, because I was a witness and I was an inmate there, right in Madurai Adinam, doing all these services. So this was a brutal false case which was filed against, stating that women, like all the women, are dressed inappropriately inside there, and they are seen in compromising position on the beds with men, and there is a tiger skin and elephant tusk there in the Adinam, and women are doing prostitution. And one of the guys called Sole Kannan, he said he had seen all these things happening right in front of his eyes there inside the Adinam. So this was the atrocious attack, especially saying calling all the sannyasis by names as prostitutes. So that was the attack on the women, like especially even myself and so many other sannyasis who were there were personally attacked by this false complaint on the Madurai Adinam, where literally day in and day out, all the sannyasis were serving thousands and thousands of people through Annadhan, through medical camps, and as we had seen all the pictures. And every activity which we do was directly contributing to the public at large. So this was the false complaint on the 12th of May 2012, and on the 26th of May 2012, one unknown, like a caste supremacist, Jagadala Pradaban, he filed a false complaint saying that his divine holiness had to be removed as the 293rd Pontiff of Madurai Adinam. So several cases were filed against Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. even though Hindu leaders from more than 54 organizations had supported him, that his coronation is true, it is legal. So that was the brutal attack in Madurai Adinam.
And yeah, I would like to point out several things here. One, this is an example of how the anti-Hindu militant forces use the sexual objectification of women, and they use that in the media, like trying to show in the media that women are prostitutes, that there's prostitution going on inside of a monastery where we have taken up vows of sannyas, where we've taken up vows of chastity and of service to the whole world, but completely twisting that and portraying that in the media and sexualizing us, objectifying us, and making it an absolute opposite. When a woman stands up to do service to the whole world, volunteers and wants to do service, this is how they portray in the opposite way. And they not only file cases, but also portray in the media, so that the public view is an absolutely opposite frame or image that is portrayed to the whole world, thus literally assassinating the character of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and all of the women sannyasis. And it's like, and thus after that, then justifying the attacks that they do, the rapes and assault that they do against the women, just with this, just with the media, talk, and what the campaigns in the media have been speaking about and spreading hate speech about the women of inside the Adinam. And not only that, they use the legal cases as well as the media hate speech that is being spread in order to justify the subsequent violent attacks against sannyasis of the Nityananda order. And in Madurai also, we saw several different attacks where literally our sannyasis were hospitalized. Even the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to intervene and go to the hospital to ensure that the sannyasis were healed and being taken care of. And even the destruction of the properties, like the cars, they were thrashed and like literally stones pelted into the cars, the property of the Adinam, property of Kailasa. What had really, honestly, we have to ask ourselves, what had provoked this violence when we're doing so much of good inside, when we're doing so much of good and we're we're successfully reviving an indigenous Hindu kingdom. The way that the anti-Hindu militant forces had literally conspired and strategized these attacks in order to ultimately oppress the Hindu kingdom, continue further, and ensure that the work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was delayed and could not be done. As you can see here, this is some of the most brutal staged mobs of the anti-Hindu militant forces. They literally send these henchmen and these people to attack the sannyasis, and then in the media they'll try to portray as if there is hatred, there is so much of public outcry in quotes against the sannyasis, whereas the truth is they sent these their henchmen and they're hired people in order to literally cause so much of havoc, violate the sannyasis and sannyasinis, and literally put them in the hospital.
Yes, so here you could see the visual where two sannyasis at the Madurai Adinam's Kanjanur Agnishwara temple, it's a part of the Madurai Adinam, the Shyamlapeta Sarvajna Peetham. So a mob of at least 100 people, they beat up the sannyasis and they escaped, but the mob, they smashed their car, and the two sannyasis, they managed to drive away. And first they ran to the first local police station, and then they filed a complaint, and then they went to the hospital. They themselves got admitted. So that was the sad pictures. You can see the visuals, how the people, the mobs are beating up the sannyasis and they're attacking the sannyasis just for the good which we had done to the public.
And a really disheartening thing here is that in the heart of the whole Hindu civilization, in Madurai itself, the anti-Hindu such amount of oppressive power, such a supremacist oppressive power, where they can conspire these attacks, and we're literally powerless to stop it. As you can see here, some of the really heart-wrenching photographs of the sannyasis who were hospitalized and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism attending to them personally.
Yes, this is on the 30th of May 2012 when His Divine Holiness and the 292nd Pontiff they were traveling back from the same Kanjanur temple. And literally before the attack happened, they had confronted their vehicle, and the police actually they pretended to stop the mobs. But the assassins, they dragged the devotees, though these were two devotees, they were named Senthil Kumar and Muthu Krishnan, out of the escort vehicle. They beat them brutally, while His Divine Holiness and Second Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the 292nd Pontiff had literally just escaped from the attack. So these were the two people who were actually beaten up by the mobs when the attack was happening.
And would it be possible, Mahatma Priyaswami, if you can share a little bit about what was going on inside of the Adinam? Were all of you afraid of what's going to happen next, of a different raid? I know you yourself personally have been through the attacks in 2010, and you know the power that these anti-Hindu militant forces have, and they will go to any extent to make sure that what they want is done. So can you share a little bit about what was going on inside as a woman, as a female sannyasi? What was happening inside of the Adinam? Okay, it seems like we have a technical difficulty. And I just like to share with all of the viewers also, once again, that the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that happened surrounding the revival of the ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom, the Kailash known as the Shamala Pita Sarvajna Pitam, was literally a brutal forced attack that was destroying once again, one of the most ancient Adinams, one of the most ancient heritage sites and heritage structures of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as we had explained before, in just a matter of a few weeks after his coronation, crime rates in the surrounding area of the kingdom had gone down. The restoration of temples had started. The people were being fed free food every single day. Medical camps were going on. A surrounding population of 10,000 people was being attended to, and they were feeling so uplifted by the presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yet there was so much of brutal onslaught that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to undergo. Why does this have to happen? What were the intentions of these anti-Hindu militant forces? And not only that, they have specific agenda against Hinduism. If you even see in the writ petitions that they have filed, and just previously we had seen the writ petitions that they had filed, how they were attacking specific Hindu rituals, Hindu traditions, saying that the holy water that we are distributing, that we are offering to the divine, and also then distributing as prasada, taken and drunken immediately, the holy water was mixed or spiked with alcohol. Can you imagine if this was said against any other religion? If this was said in any other circumstance, this is a direct, just hurting the religious sentiments. How can they take something so pure, something so sacred as a Hindu sacred ritual that is ongoing, the offering of waters to the feet of the Guru and the feet of the the feet of the deity and then taking that as prasada. But they abused that and they literally twisted that and made it seem as though there was some crime happening there. This is what we have to address in the entirety, in the fights that in the entire persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, that it's directly because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma. It's directly against the Hinduism and against Hinduism as an entirety. It's not just the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that they want to attack, but entire Hinduism in as a whole that they want to demolish and they want to eradicate completely. In the surrounding community of Madurai, even though it is the Madurai Adinam and the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam is surviving until today, still there's so much of corruption inside that makes the temple functions and the temple functions, the temple administration, all of that ultimately not benefit the temple ecosystem and making the temple ecosystem weaker and weaker. And because the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had been coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, Hindus in the whole ecosystem were feeling so much of hope that finally there would be some hope that Madurai could be the civilization that it once was. And that there was hope that that there was going to be so much of revival of the sacred Hindu practices and the ecosystem of Madurai. However, we have seen continuously how this attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has only worsened and worsened. Now today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam despite so much of attack again in Madurai, and the services are continuing today as the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam. Many of you know, and you can even see the activities continuously being shared across on social media and being shown into the international audience, where when an Adinam about Hinduism, the oldest Adinam, was not even known to the outer world, to the whole of the world, and the history was covered and made invisible by anti-Hindu forces. Because of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, today the whole world recognizes the Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam as an ancient Hindu indigenous kingdom that was sovereign in its own right. Now, this brings us to a conclusion of today's segment on the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the Hindu Holocaust. This entire month, we are bringing awareness and we are speaking on the Hindu Holocaust and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has literally been on the forefront of this, of the attacks against Hinduism as a whole. And today, he is the last hope for the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. So I request each and every one of the viewers, take a few minutes to go to the link below and see how the United Nations has recognized the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations has actually listed Kailasa as among the persecuted communities and has recognized the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for the amount he has been reviving the ancient Hindu indigenous kingdoms. He has been protecting the rights of Hindu women and minority Hindu women, and he has and the amount of persecution he has been through just for this. Please go to this link, explore on your own, and share this to all of everyone that you know. And we'll now be entering into the next segment of today's program. We're continuing also with the explanations of the persecution of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism after a very quick break.
Shivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nityananda Paramashivoham.
Nityananda. Nityanandam. So now we'll be continuing on to the next segment of today's program, the Nityananda Satsang from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. After that, you can join us for the Power Manifestation segment, where you can practice and play with the powers of Paramashiva. So now, thank you for attending to this program. We'll now be continuing into the next segment of today's program, the Satsang by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And then we'll be concluding today's program. Thank you, Nityananda.
Connecting with the divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
என்னப்பா நல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பா நல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் ஞானம் அளித்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா என்னப்ப நல்லவா எந்தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலில் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலில் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலில் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலில் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட ஏழாம் உடல்கள் தாண்டி நித்திய வாழ்வும் கண்டிட கேடான காலம் நன்மை வென்று நிலை நின்றிட சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா சீரான பாவம் வழி நீங்க பெரும் வாழ்வினே கொண்டாட நித்யானந்த ஸ்புரணம் தனை நிகவா என்னப்பன் 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 அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா என்னப்பன் அல்லவா என் தாயும் அல்லவா தன்னை உணர்த்திடும் தியானம் அளித்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா எங்கும் நிறைந்தவா எண்ணம் கடந்தவா பொங்கும் அருவியாய் ஆனந்தம் தந்தவா
செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் காக்கும் இறையே நட்டின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டே மலை போல்தான் என வருவான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான், வந்து உதித்தான்.
ஓம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வர பரமசிவ சமாரம்பாம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வரி பரமசக்தி மத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்ய பர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குரு பரம்பராம். I welcome you all with my love and respect. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Shri Mahans, Mahans, Kotari, Tanedar, visitors, viewers, Sarvanyapita Kartas, Ejamans, Manifestors, Sarvaparityagis. I welcome all of you with my love and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Listen. Ferociously, not softly, not politely, not mildly, but ferociously breaking the obsessive, compulsive, reactionary patterns. Ferociously reactionary pattern. Very carefully. Then I'll translate. Listen. முதல்ல உடம்பு வளையறதுனால உடம்ப சரி பண்றதுனால மனச சரி பண்றது ஹடயோகம். ஜடம் சிற்ஜட கிரந்தி மேல் வேலை செய்வது. பிறகு மனச நிமித்தினாலே உடம்ப நிமித்திர முடியும்னு புரிஞ்சிக்கிறது தியான யோகம், சித்தோட பவரை, சக்திய கிரந்தி மேல செலுத்தி ஜடத்தை மாற்றுவது. பிறகு சித் மலர்ந்தாலே கிரந்தி ஜடம் இந்த ரெண்டுமே நம் விருப்பத்தின்படி இயங்கும்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது. யோகம், சமாதி யோகம். Now I'll translate. Listen. First, initially bending the body. By bending the body, you can bend your mind. Learning that is Hatha Yoga. Then, by bending the mind, learning that you can change your body is Dhyana Yoga. Then, realizing by bending your consciousness, playing with your consciousness itself, you can change the mind and the body is Samadhi Yoga, the ultimate yoga. Listen. Then, after a few days, consciously, only then you manifest powers. Very beautifully he told me, see, if you do yoga every day, one day you do 10 Surya Namaskar, next day you make it into 25, then you make it into like 50 Surya Namaskar, then you add Surya Namaskar and Pranayama, then you add Surya Namaskar and Pranayama and meditation. This way you will manifest your possibilities. But if you break the patterns, not step by step, just in one stroke, ferociously, you manifest powers, not just possibility. See, body flexibility, muscle building, able to do rope yoga, pole yoga. All these are possibilities. But straight levitation is a power, not just possibility. There's a difference between possibility and power. Listen. Every time you break your patterns step by step, you manifest possibilities. Whenever you break your patterns ferociously, you just manifest powers. You just manifest power. Listen, I tell you. Please listen, I tell you. Understand? I'll repeat now. All of you intensely listen. For example, yes, I think people are able to see and hear. Let me repeat now. Whenever you break your patterns, the obsessive, compulsive, reactionary patterns, whenever you break those patterns in you ferociously, you manifest powers. I tell you, this really happened. One person came to me with rheumatoid arthritis problem. It was very severe. The fingers have started getting twisted, and the effect of the disease is seen even physically, not just in the form of pain alone. The body started getting distorted. I sat with that person and spoke to the person to understand the source. Obsessive compulsive reactionary pattern of her which triggered this disease in her. Please understand. All diseases are triggered inside you due to some compulsive reactionary pattern. So I wanted to study for 10 minutes her anger towards mother-in-law and how she gets triggered by mother-in-law and how it has become a very powerful on somebody else. and does this. Just the person outside is replaced, but the pattern and the vicious circle continues. I thoroughly studied her. Within that